Hello, I'm Mark Rodehaver and I'm standing outside of Vessel Kitchen, one of my favorite places to get takeout food or actually go sit down. We're going to go in and check out some of the food, great food scene here, and talk a little bit about why Park City. Let's go. Okay, so we just sat down and this is a really creative menu here, and you can go all different directions from vegan to vegetarian to different kinds of meats. I ended up getting the braised beef with the pepper aioli. I have pickled beets here and kale mixed with a mustard slaw. This is a great combination for lunch. And so what was interesting, when COVID first happened, Vessel was one of the first creative kitchens to come out and say, hey, we've got this takeout menu. And you could call in, they would bag it up, they'd put your name on it, and you pull in and call them and they would bring it out. They still do that today. Today's March 4th, and they still are, obviously we're in the restaurant now, but they're taking it out. We probably get takeout from here probably 2 or 3 times a month. One of my favorite restaurants in town. So it's a very progressive menu, a very creative menu, from the vegetables to the meats. This is a food-forward establishment. You'll find everything from poke bowls, which are fantastic, to braised beef and pulled pork and pulled chicken. Okay, so let's talk about Park City. So in the past, this is my 4th ski town I've lived in. So when I was out of college, I lived in Jackson Hole for about a year, and then later was recruited by Interwest Resort Development to work on real estate in Mammoth Lakes, California, in 2007. So I've been here about 13 years, and what you'll find the difference between Park City compared to the other ski resort communities is there's a real year-round community here. And when you come in November or you come in April, when typically that's mud season and the towns are slower, Park City has a heartbeat. It's a thriving community. It's also a bedroom community to Salt Lake, and so there are a certain number of people who live in Park City and that commute back and forth to Salt Lake to work. So when we first moved here in 2007, I was working at Montage and spending a lot of time in Deer Valley. So we lived in Upper Deer Valley for about a year, and then we ended up moving to Park Meadows, which is a great neighborhood. And then we spent about 6 years in Silver Springs, and now I live on 40 acres in Browns Canyon. There are some great communities in town no matter where you are. And the draw for us in the beginning was Park City has the top 4 elementary schools in the state. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are here in Park City. We've had both of our kids. Our first child was born in 2008 and the second was in 2011. So we've been through the Park City School District. We understand how the programs work, and there's some great options here. Park City is just one of those places that you want to put roots down and you want to stay. And ultimately, we decided to make that decision to stay here long term. And we're so glad that we did. It's such a great community, and you'll find that out the more time that you spend here. So let's talk about skiing. Obviously, Park City is known for its skiing. So for the first 7 years that I lived here, I only skied Deer Valley. Deer Valley is a fantastic place to go hit some powder, because what you'll find in Deer Valley is many times a lot of folks in Deer Valley will stay on the groomers. But if you go over to Park City Mountain, which now I spend most of my time in Park City Mountain, there's some great pockets that locals will and will not tell you about, whether you're going all the way up to Jupiter or you're going over to the Canyons Village side. If you get on the Canyons Village side, you can find everything from double blacks all the way to the greens. Both sides will give you that. They're both a little bit different depending on access and where you live in town, but no matter what kind of skier you are, there's something for everyone in this town. So comparing Park City to some of the other places I've lived, let's start with Vail, for example. And Vail's a great mountain, yet when I was there in early 2000s, you still would ski in the back bowls and wait 30 to 45 minutes to get out. It just became really too crowded. And you won't find the crowds like that here in Park City. And then you go on over to like Mammoth. I spent 4 years skiing in Mammoth. It's a great mountain. Jackson's a really great town, great summer destination, but in the winter, it gets really cold. And the mountain's a little too difficult for most families. You're mostly blacks and double blacks. There are some blues. And then another one that I would compare it to is I got to know Tahoe very well from Squaw all the way to Heavenly. And it brings you back to variety. I mean, we've got 2 great mountains here. One's 7,300 acres, one's 5-star service. It really depends on, what you're skiing. You've got the Epic Pass, you've got the Icon Pass, and we do have some of the best powder in the country. So a real benefit when you live here full time and you live here with a young family is the access to the big city. I mean, we call Salt Lake the big city, and You know, we used to jokingly say, oh, it's so convenient to get in and out. And now with the $3 billion airport, it's an international airport, you can pretty much fly everywhere you want to go out of Park City. It's about 35, 40 minutes down to the airport. But another real benefit to the city itself, big city living, is you get to go to the museums. There's the zoo, there's the aquariums, and there's some great museums for kids. And it's a really family-friendly destination down in Salt Lake, all the way down to Orem and Provo. It's a real hub living here in Park City compared to some of these other towns that we've talked about. You got Moab 4 hours away. You can go out to Moab year-round. Even you can go in the summertime. It gets a little warm in the summer, but motorcycle riding, backpacking, riding your mountain bike, it's one of the best destinations in the West. You can then go over to Arches. You can go to Zion. You can go to Capitol Reef. Some of the best national parks are here in our state. And if you want to go to the north, you can run up to Jackson or Big Sky, which is about 6 hours away. Jackson's about 4 hours away. Or you can go up to Bear Lake, which is the Caribbean of the Rockies. You can take your boat up there. There's a lot of great boating here also in the summer. We have multiple lakes that a lot of people don't even know about. When you come to Park City in the summer, there's so many people pulling their ski boats around, you wonder where they're going, but we have many lakes within about a 20-minute drive of Park City. Okay, so you come to Park City for the winter, you stay for the summer. It's certainly what people here will tell you about. The nice thing about the summer in Park City is there's no bugs. And it's generally between, depending on where you are, when you're down in Kimball Junction, it's a little bit warmer than if you get up into Lower Deer Valley, but you're somewhere in 77 to 82 degrees. Most of the people don't have air conditioning here. And you'll actually see that on some of my real estate discussions. But it's fly fishing, it's golf. There's fantastic golf courses here. It's getting out in hot air ballooning. We have 400 miles of trails for mountain biking. The hiking, and then when you roll into fall here is spectacular. There's so many aspens, this place turns yellow. And then that takes you on into Thanksgiving and into the winter. It is year round. There's 2 months that are a little bit slower than others that we would talk about in any other ski town. But in general, it thrives year round, and there's always something to do with festivals that we have. There's festivities, there's things that happen on Main Street. It is a great place to live year round. Okay, now I'm full. That was a great lunch. Thanks for joining us today as a tour and look inside of Vessel, one of the great local eateries here. Just talking about Park City. My name is Mark Rodehaver. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you can also find me on Instagram at mr.parkcity.